Hi everyone, Robin Shea here. Welcome to day 14 of Before the Fork, the 28-day experience. I hope everyone has had a fantastic day. It's been, after dropping Kelly off, I drove back home, cleaned the house, and now I'm making dinner for the kids, and it's been a great day. So I hope all of you have had a wonderful day as well. The message that I want to bring to y'all tonight is a message that I have really driven home with my children from a very, very young age. And the message is, in life, we are given one opportunity to learn, meaning that once you learn to do something from whatever selected teacher you have chosen, and in most cases, you didn't actually choose the teacher, but once you learn it, and let's say you learn that skill from a subpar teacher, a teacher that just doesn't really grasp the importance of certain steps, so they take shortcuts, or they compromise this, or they compromise that, and that's how you learn. Well, if you ever want to elevate how you're doing that task or that skill, you now have to unlearn certain behaviors that have been sent to your subconscious, and you have to relearn the new behaviors. So it's a double-edged, twice as much work to unlearn and relearn. So I taught the boys early on, when you're learning something, and although it may be very, very tedious, seek out the best teacher absolutely possible. You want to be a student of the teacher prior to allowing the teacher to become, or you to become the student of the teacher. You want to be a student of the teacher. So make certain that the teacher that you select does not compromise, has integrity, knows the subject matter inside out. Look at their results. Look at the people that they have taught. Pay special attention to their entire process. Don't just learn a skill from any old person that can teach you the skill. I don't care if it's learning to play the guitar, learning to play the piano, learning to play a sport, learning to read, learning to do mathematics. I don't care what the skill set is. Once you understand that we learn once, and then if it wasn't the right way, if we didn't learn the right way, we have to unlearn and relearn. So it becomes twice as difficult the second time around. This is where a lot of us are in our nutrition world. We didn't learn the best way possible. And in my personal opinion, 80-20 is the best foundation for a child, a best foundation for a person. Now, I'm coming at it from my particular perspective. I know that both of my grandmothers owned restaurants. My mother is an amazing cook. We have a lot of deep family history steeped in food. As a matter of fact, that right there was one of the reasons I reached out to Paula Deen in 2010, because I had, that also goes back to intuition. When she was diagnosed with her diabetes, I had just launched into my national campaign with Southern Fried Fitness. And I really thought she and I shared such a similar background. She's from a restaurant family. I knew the value of wonderful food in her life because I felt I really shared that, because so many of our Southern family gatherings were, of course, made around indulgent, wonderful, fabulous food. I had figured out a way to honor my heritage in food, but also embrace an incredibly healthy lifestyle. I wanted to share that with Paula in 2010. I'll never forget just getting on the internet and researching how I could actually connect with her. In 2010, Paula was at the height of her popularity when she was actually diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. So I just researched, okay, who's her publicist? Who's this person? Do I know anyone that knows anyone? And just through a series of connections, I was able to fly to New York, meet with her publicist. Well, that actually didn't lead to Paula and I meeting, but it put my name in front of her team that was actually from New York. And when she was ready to bring a more healthful message to her audience in 2013, my name came to them. They're like, wasn't there some girl that was stalking Paula in 2010? Maybe she would be the right person to present a healthful message to Paula's followers, because Paula really did want them to know that there were alternatives to her very, very indulgent lifestyle. I didn't mean to get off subject, but I just thought that was a good opportunity. I don't know why I had that intuitive instinct to pick up the internet and start searching for her. But it was funny, in 2013, when I signed my contract with Paula Deen, my husband and I were driving back from Chicago after meeting with Paula at the Houseware show. And I pulled up my original email to Janice, who was actually Paula's agent at the time in New York. And I saw my original email from 2010, and the synchronicity and the irony and the God's hand in my life working was so evident. It was just so evident. So anyway, that was a little off subject. That was about instinct and intuition, and acting on those rather than letting that impulse pass me by. But back to learning, when I built the 80-20 lifestyle for myself and for my family, there was a clean slate. It was a very clean slate. And you talk about religious, committed, pointed, directed. Man, I was cross the T, dot the I. I was handbook, 5 ingredients. I cannot even tell you how stringent and dedicated and committed I was to this framework that I was creating. I honestly felt like God had provided me with such a structure. He had provided me with such distinctive step-by-step instructions that I felt if I didn't follow those instructions, because the clarity was so crystal clear, that I was really betraying the trust that had been instilled in me with this message. So I was committed, and I was religious and dedicated to the craft of figuring out how to work the 80-20 lifestyle for myself and my family. So I can honestly say at that time in my life, I was absolutely the best teacher and mentor and guidance counselor to myself that I could possibly be. So as you go through this journey, and if you come across a teacher that allows you to compromise your integrity, that allows you to bend the rules during the learning phase, and that's a critical discernment there, because you will come to a place in your transformation in writing your new nutritional parameters. You'll come to a place that you start crafting it and molding it for yourself to feel good to you. But when you're initially learning and you're reading those labels and you're carving out your 20% and you're doing your journal entries and your morning work and your evening work, I want you to hold yourself to a standard, hold your teachers to a standard that is excellence, just nothing but sheer and utter excellence. Because what you're going to find is that how you learn to navigate this lifestyle the first time is paramount. It's like learning subpar mathematics and wanting to excel into high-end mathematics and not having the foundation under you. You learn once Make sure that the teacher you select is a superior teacher in that field. I don't care what the field is. We're talking about nutrition, fitness. Make sure that you find a superior teacher. It's, I think about CrossFit a lot when I talk about nutrition, because I know CrossFit in some areas is kind of a cult following, really. And I look at myself at 52, and I know how I train my women whenever I'm working with them in the gym, and I am on them. From the second we start lifting, we have a kind of a little formula. And the first time that I lift with them, we don't worry about the weight at all. We have zero interest in the weight. We're making the mind muscle connection. That's all I'm interested in. I work on their form. I make sure that they're isolating the muscle group that they need to isolate. I'm diligent and I'm on them. I'm correcting their posture. I'm correcting their form, making sure that they understand where the movement, where the propulsion is, or where the contraction is from, making sure that they grasp all of that in their mind. The next time that we work together, we isolate the muscle a little bit more. We see what has stuck from the mind connection. Are they still feeling it? Or they're still able to isolate it? It's not until the fourth or fifth time that I train with a new student that we actually are worried about digging deep and fighting against the weight. Because there's so much groundwork leading up to that point that I want to have in place for my students. It's always my goal for my students to leave me after a couple of our 12 weeks together. Maybe we do that 2 or 3 times a year. And then I want them go, be on your own, do your own thing. Make sure that, play with it, see where you are. Come back to me for a fresher. I go to trainers for freshers, just a new way of thinking and a new twist on things. So that's the message tonight. You really only learn once, and then you spend time unlearning and relearning. So now that you're aware of that and you have an opportunity, make sure that you select teachers that are worthy to teach you, that have the integrity, that have the ground game, that are truly in it to cultivate the seed in you and teach you the right way to do things the first time around. You will never forget the right way to do things. You'll never forget that. But if you weren't taught that from the very beginning, you will be in a struggle when you go to elevate to the next level and you don't have the groundwork in place. Okay, so you guys have a great night. I hope that message is something that resonated with some of you tonight, and you can maybe tighten the parameters around yourself and how you're learning and what you're learning and who you're allowing to teach you. Don't let just any old person teach you. A lot of people tout a lot of knowledge, especially in the gym. And nutrition as well. A lot of weekend warriors, and both nutritionally and physically, that think that they have the chops to really teach, when actually they have some random knowledge that they got off the internet. But what is their true foundation? It's one of the reasons that I trust my physicality with my son, Mac. I know what he has poured into his knowledge bank. I know that when he tells me to do something or suggests that I try something else, I know what stands behind that. And that is years and years and years of research and dedication to the craft of the human body, kinesiology, and all that entails, chiropractic knowledge. So Mac he has my complete and total and utter respect when it comes to helping me navigate my own physicality. So make sure that your teachers are worthy to teach you. Learn once, don't duplicate work for yourself, and you will be very, very happy that you did. Never be afraid to walk away from a teacher that you feel is teaching you subpar standards, and standards that are not going to allow you to elevate to whatever level you want to elevate to in the days to come. So you guys have a wonderful night, and I will talk to you in the morning. Bye now.